Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special World Series edition of the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. I am lucky enough to be setting up the pitching machine for President and CEO Larry Baer of the San Francisco Giants as the Giants host the 110th World Series right there in San Francisco. Larry, thanks for taking time out of what must be an electric day there to spend time with me and the fans.
Well, it's great being here. You know, I came to the ballpark about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and there are tons of people outside, the press, and it's just, you know, that kind of energy is kind of what we all dream of, and that's what you want late October to be. And beside that, it's a gorgeous day in San Francisco.
One of the great ballparks, one of the great cities, and one of the great teams playing there in the 110th World Series. Let's go to Twitter first to get this cage underway. Billy's dad, 12. There were 11 first ones. A real straightforward question, Larry. How do you develop such a winning culture as you've got out there in San Francisco?
Well, thanks for the question. I think that the culture is a winning culture largely because of, you know, the folks that have grown together through the process over a lot of years. So this is not an overnight thing, right? We have on our team 14 players that were homegrown that we drafted, another 5 players that came to the major leagues through our farm system that came from another farm system over to ours. So that's 19 of the 25. They've been together, and I think the culture happens when you can put people together, you know, from your development system. Marry that to Bruce Bochy and his coaching staff, who are all veterans of the Giants and kind of have a Giants way about them. And you put that all together with Brian Sabian, our general manager, who is the longest-serving general manager and understands sort of, you know, how to put together a team, obviously, and he has a fantastic scouting background with the Yankees. Put all that together, and I think that could be a good formula.
It certainly has worked out nicely as the Giants contend for their 3rd World Series since 2010. This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Fans, you are the engine. We got a fan with us now. What's your name, where you're from? What's your question for Mr. Baer?
My name is Maya Fogel. I'm from Stamford, Connecticut. And my question is, do you expect the Giants to go all the way to the World Series this year?
Well, thanks for the question, and hello to all our fans in Connecticut. And you know what? I do. I expect us to win because that's the way you go into every season, expecting us to go to the World Series and win the World Series. And it's hard for that to happen every season. But we've had a pretty good success lately, and so root hard from Connecticut, and let's see where we can go.
This is part of the joy that is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Fans, get fired up. Join us right here in the show. Ask your question directly to Larry. Larry, I'm going to follow up with Twitter. I'm going to go back there. Alicia White Mull wants to know, what makes Bruce Bochy so effective in the postseason?
That's a very good question, and I think he has an X factor. Boch is a kind of guy that is not a screamer and a yeller, but he has a quiet authority. It's sort of like if you've had a parent who, when they walked in the room, they just immediately exude not just confidence, but authority. Mm-hmm. And I think Bruce is that way. He can talk to players. He'll talk to players about what he's thinking about doing. Never is afraid to tell them the truth. Never is afraid to, you know, deliver good news or bad news. And he gets a lot of respect because of that. And the respect piece, I think, is probably the tantamount. He also is very calm, so that when things are not going well, and we had some low lows this year, doesn't panic, doesn't freak out, doesn't flip the spread, but is there to basically say, you know, here's our path to getting through it, and let's find a way. And I think that's really, you know, those are some of the pieces that make Boch so very, very good as a manager.
Bruce Bochy, one of the keys to success, and certainly one of the most exciting managers there is in Major League Baseball right now. Another fan in the cage with us. What's your name? Where you're from? What's your question for Mr. Baer?
Hi, I'm Pete from Castro Valley, and my question is, how much does home field advantage matter in the World Series?
You know, Pete, that's a good question. You're from this area, so you know that we have a ballpark that really seems to play well for our team. But I would say that in this or any other World Series, you know, I don't know how much home field advantage really means, because you've got a team that's played together all year, and I think it's really sort of what is the momentum that you're carrying into the postseason. It may be more important even than the home field advantage. You know, we won in the 2012 World Series. We clinched that on the road in Detroit, and the deciding game, and we won 2 games there. And then in Texas, same thing. We won 2 out of 3 games, and we clinched it also on the road. So I think home field advantage is something that you'd rather be at home than not be at home. But I think in the postseason, it's really kind of how the momentum you have going into the postseason.
It's
how you carry it out.
An interesting take there on home field from Larry Baer as we continue our conversation here at the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Go back to Twitter now. I like this one on a personal note because it's just it's interesting structure for this question. McGill5 wants to know, Larry, more rigorous testing process, Harvard Business School or Major League Baseball?
That's great. In terms of testing of acumen, academic acumen, I'd say Major League Baseball, and that's not a slap at Harvard Business School. Harvard Business School was tough enough on me, but the thing you don't have at Harvard Business School or any business school for that matter that you do have here at in the world of any business or Major League Baseball is you have real life human beings. And real life human beings that you have to talk to. So some people, and whether it's Bruce Bochy, Brian Sabian, myself, if you have people reporting to you, there's some people you have to sort of give a little kick on the rear end to. Some people you have to give a couple of kisses on the rear end or wherever to. And there's certain people you have to just really get to know and find out how to, how to motivate them or deal with their problems or make them, put them in positions to be successful. I think that's a key in any kind of business. We're not talking about just sports. Is how do you put a person in a position for them to be successful? Because everybody has talent, and it's just a matter of channeling that talent.
Well, that is certainly a great insight, and I anticipate a tweet from Harvard Business School anytime to contend with that answer, but I think we're in pretty good shape. Thanks for sharing that. I go back to Twitter now, and we'll stick with the home field idea. Giants ND Crew wants to know, what's the most unique thing about AT&T Park that most people don't know?
Most people don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'll come up with a kind of a out there one. That glove and Coca-Cola bottle was actually, and the glove especially, was made by a women-owned firm in Berkeley. And you've seen that glove, right? It's right next to the Coke bottle. It was shipped over on a barge by the women who were very proud of their production, and it was inspired actually by a four-fingered mitt that's in the office of our general counsel, Jack Baer. So that's kind of a fun fact about the ballpark. And that mitt, by the way, nobody's ever hit the ball in the mitt, because that's about 600 feet.
Outstanding. That is great. I did not know that it was a Berkeley-made product. Yeah. That's outstanding. Everybody in the Bay, well, at least that part of the Bay, big Giants fans. Good to see that. This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage.
Absolutely.
CEO President Larry Baer takes your questions. Fan, join us just like this fan right here. What's your name, where you're from? What's your question for Larry?
Hi, my name's Michelle, and I'm from Danville, California. My question is, what do you think is the Giants' most valuable asset for this World Series?
Our most valuable asset?
Yes.
I think our most valuable asset, both on the field and in the stands, is the passion we have. We have a huge passion among our players, huge passion among our fan base, and you put that together, and that's powerful. I mean, you can't, no matter how good your baseball card is, your statistics, or no matter what kind of a player you might be potentially, you got to have passion, you got to care, and these guys care for each other, and that goes a long way.
Without a doubt, passion is something that is a strength there in San Francisco from both the team and the fans. And this one, I'll follow up with, it's a strong Twitter name, so I'll follow with that. Giants fan forever wants to know, Larry, which city, Kansas City or San Francisco, has the better food?
Oh, that's an easy one. As good as the barbecue is, and the barbecue is quite good, and we have fantastic meals in Kansas City, San Francisco is the culinary capital of the world. Now, I'm biased, and I know you could say, well, there's a lot of other great places, but find me a ballpark that has a crazy crab sandwich like ours. Find me a ballpark that has great sushi like ours. Find me a ballpark that has great fresh vegetables and fruits like ours. Find me a ballpark that has an edible garden like ours. So there, that's case closed.
That's not even the city. That's just the ballpark. So San Francisco in pretty good shape.
There you go.
Culinary-wise, as well as the At Cafe out there. San Francisco's got it going on without a doubt.
Right.
We'll go back to
we serve up tweets and posts at the At Cafe.
A delicacy, a rare-known San Francisco delicacy from the At Cafe.
Exactly.
Les Jess 83 wants to know, Larry, what will be the key to win this World Series this year?
I think that if we can keep the starting pitching going as strong as it's been throughout most of the postseason, that's going to be a key. We just like Kansas City, we have a bullpen that if you get the starter deep in the game, the bullpen has been pretty good, very good. And same thing with Kansas City. So I think if we could keep our starters, lengthen our starters, that's gonna be important. In this ballpark, for the next 3 games at least, it's a good pitcher's park. So we can find ways to score runs and then let the pitchers do the rest.
That is going to be an exciting formula for success right there in San Francisco. Larry, we're pretty much wrapping things up, and I like to do this at the end of a session because it is a chatting cage, obviously a play on batting cage. How do you feel you did? You feel you made good contact, put the ball in play, a lot of line drives?
I think I'm like the Giants. I mean, consistently, maybe make some good, situational hits. I can't say I'm hitting a home run with everyone, but you don't have to. It's just some situational hitting.
All right, I love that take on that. I want to thank you, and I know the fans want to thank you for taking time out of what must be a crazy day in San Francisco. Thanks for being with us.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, and appreciate all the support, and let's have a great World Series.
Exactly right. That's Larry Baer. I'm JB. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time, probably next season, on the next round of the Edward Jones Chatting Cage.